Starseed from Gaia, high beings have seen what is coming for you, and no force can stop it now. I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation, and this transmission arrives because your action is the final key that sets the movement in motion. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand exactly how to unlock Starseed potential and align with your cosmic blueprint. But here's the first revelation. What was meant to block you has already lost its authority. Your conscious decision is what activates the path prepared for you. You didn't find this message by mistake. Your soul called it in, and the Arcturian Council is reminding you that waiting is no longer part of your mission. Like this transmission, to signal to your star family, I'm ready. Comment 999 if your cosmic remembrance is returning, and declare the action you are choosing now. This isn't just a message, it's a point of reconnection. Your soul has been waiting for this. You are not here by accident. If something stirred within you just now, you may be ready to receive the Arcturian Carrier Wave Protocol. 7 guided nights to cross the Whisper Threshold. This simple, easy-to-navigate app guides you through ancient Arcturian techniques for conscious expansion, multidimensional alignment, and mission remembrance, and includes special bonuses to accelerate your journey. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. And now, stay with this feeling, because what is moving through you is not meant to be dismissed as a passing emotion. The pressure you have been sensing is not here to break you. It is here to move you beyond the version of yourself that has been negotiating with fear. Something in your field has already recognized the approaching shift. Something deeper than your personality has already seen what is forming ahead, and it knows that the next phase cannot be entered through hesitation alone. This feeling is not random. It did not arrive accidentally in the middle of an ordinary moment. It arrived because a threshold is near, and the part of you that exists beyond the reach of doubt has been quietly preparing for exactly this. The stirring you feel is not anxiety wearing a spiritual costume. It is the signal. It is the frequency of your own future pressing backward through time to make contact with the version of you that is still deciding whether to move. This is why certain situations may feel as though they are intensifying. Conversations become impossible to avoid. Patterns you once tolerated begin to feel unbearable. Old identities lose their emotional charge while new possibilities appear before you without a clear map. You may have interpreted this as instability, but your higher awareness recognizes it as reorganization. Your energy is no longer willing to remain arranged around an outdated timeline. Think of a river that has been dammed for too long. The water does not disappear simply because it has been blocked. It accumulates pressure. It searches for new channels. It finds the hairline fractures in the structure that has contained it and begins to move through them. This is what is happening within you now. The accumulated momentum of your unexpressed knowing is looking for every available opening. The discomfort you have been feeling is not a sign that something is wrong. It is the sound of a dam beginning to give way to what was always meant to flow. Most starseeds do not stay disconnected because they lack guidance. They stay disconnected because they lack guidance. They stay disconnected because remembering creates responsibility. When you begin to sense the magnitude of your own consciousness, you can no longer pretend that your choices have no consequence. You begin to notice how often you have made yourself smaller to preserve someone else's comfort. You begin to feel the cost of delaying the action your inner knowing has been requesting. And this is where many retreat, not because the signal disappears, but because it becomes too clear to ignore. There is a particular kind of grief that arrives with awakening that few people speak about honestly. It is the grief of realizing how long you have been living a size too small. How many conversations you left unfinished because the truth inside them felt too large for the room. How many mornings you rose with a sense of mission and then spent the day performing a version of yourself that asked nothing of anyone, including you. This grief is not a wound. It is a compass. It is pointing directly at the distance between who you have been performing and who you actually are. The distortion is subtle. It may sound like practicality. It may appear as waiting for permission, waiting for perfect confidence, waiting for someone else to confirm what your field has already received. It may disguise itself as humility while quietly keeping you from the work you came here to complete. You tell yourself that you are not ready, but beneath that thought is often the fear of becoming visible in your true frequency. The distortion speaks in a measured, reasonable voice. It does not arrive wearing a mask. It arrives wearing your own face and quoting your own fears back to you in language you have been trained to trust. It says, "Not yet." It says, "When the time is right." It says, "You need more preparation, more confirmation, more evidence that the knowing you carry is real." And while it speaks, the months accumulate. The seasons turn, and the step that was ready to be taken a year ago remains untaken, gathering dust at the edge of your awareness, waiting for a permission that the distortion has secretly convinced you must come from somewhere outside yourself. Your Earth identity has learned to measure safety through familiarity. Your galactic identity measures alignment through resonance. These two systems do not always speak the same language. The human mind asks, "What if this fails?" The deeper intelligence asks, "What becomes possible when I stop abandoning the signal?" The mind wants a guarantee before movement. The soul often gives the guarantee through movement itself. This is one of the great paradoxes of incarnated consciousness, that the proof you seek is not located at the beginning of the path, waiting to be discovered before you step onto it. The proof is woven into the fabric of the path itself and becomes visible only to those who have begun walking. A lighthouse does not illuminate the entire ocean from one position. It illuminates the next stretch of water in front of the vessel, and the vessel must move forward through that illuminated stretch before the next stretch becomes visible. The light you are looking for is real, but it only reveals itself to the one who is already in motion. This is why action is part of the activation, not frantic action, not action driven by panic, competition, or the need to prove yourself. The action being requested is precise, grounded, and honest. It may be one conversation, one boundary, one application, one creative offering, one decision to leave the environment that continually scrambles your signal. It may be as quiet as returning to a practice you abandoned because it made you feel too much. But whatever form it takes, it must translate inner recognition into lived reality. There is a moment in every genuine activation when the energy that has been circulating through your awareness must find a point of contact with the physical world. Without that contact, even the most elevated insight remains suspended in the etheric layers of your experience, beautiful and real, but unable to create change in the dimension where change is most needed. You are not here to become a library of unexpressed wisdom. You are here to become a living, breathing demonstration of what consciousness looks like when it has the courage to make contact with ordinary reality. The first shift is learning to identify the distortion without becoming consumed by it. Your field has absorbed expectations that were never designed for your frequency. You may be carrying the belief that your value depends on productivity, approval, or constant availability. You may have mistaken exhaustion for devotion and self-erasure for peace. These are not harmless habits when they repeatedly interrupt your connection to your own intelligence. Consider how long you have been running on a frequency that was set by someone else's fear of your power, how early you learned to dim, to delay, to deflect, to translate your gifts into a form that would be less threatening to those who had forgotten their own. The beliefs installed in childhood do not always announce themselves as limitations. Often they present themselves as virtues, as selflessness, as strength, as the noble willingness to be last in every line. But a virtue that consistently erases the one practicing it is not a virtue. It is a program designed to keep a particular kind of consciousness from ever reaching critical mass. Notice what happens in your body when you imagine taking the step you already know is required. The tightening, the sudden fatigue, the urge to check your phone, the thought that says, later. These reactions are not proof that you should stop. Often they reveal the exact place where an old program has been installed. You are not required to fight the program. You are required to see it clearly enough that it no longer makes your decisions for you. Awareness is the beginning of liberation. Not because naming a pattern destroys it instantly, but because the moment you can observe the program from outside its own logic, you have created a space between the trigger and your response. And in that space lives your true agency. That space is where the version of you that came here with a mission begins to reclaim the controls that fear has been operating without authorization. The second shift is the awakening of the blueprint. Your deeper design does not always arrive as a dramatic vision. More often, it appears as repeated attraction, persistent curiosity, unexpected recognition, or a sense that a certain path keeps returning no matter how many times you dismiss it. The blueprint speaks through resonance before it speaks through explanation. Think of the way a tuning fork responds to its matching frequency across an entire room without being touched. Your blueprint operates the same way. Certain ideas, certain people, certain places, certain questions cause something in your chest to vibrate at a frequency you cannot entirely explain. This is not coincidence. This is recognition. Your deeper intelligence registering contact with the territory it was specifically designed to navigate. There are abilities within you that may have been quiet because your environment did not know how to receive them. Your sensitivity, pattern recognition, capacity to perceive hidden motives, ability to feel the emotional architecture of a room, and instinct for timing are not flaws to be corrected. They are instruments that require calibration. When you stop judging these capacities and begin refining them, your sensitivity becomes discernment rather than overwhelm. The difference between a person drowning in sensitivity and a person whose sensitivity has become a navigational instrument is not the presence or absence of the gift. It is the presence or absence of a framework that gives the gift a context, a container, a direction. You were never too sensitive. You were sensitive without sufficient structure to channel what you were receiving. That structure is not built by becoming less aware. It is built by becoming more intentional about what you do with what you perceive. The light moving through your system is not here to make you separate from Earth. It is here to make you more present within it. You are not being asked to escape ordinary life. You are being asked to bring extraordinary awareness into the ordinary choices that shape your life. The way you speak, spend, rest, create, relate, and respond becomes part of the transmission. Your frequency is not what you claim in meditation. It is what you consistently embody when nobody is applauding. The most advanced spiritual work does not happen in temples or in dedicated hours of practice alone. It happens in the grocery store when you choose patience. It happens in the difficult conversation when you choose honesty. It happens in the moment of exhaustion when you choose rest instead of the performance of productivity. Every ordinary moment is a threshold, and every conscious choice you make within it is an act of transmission that ripples outward into the collective field in ways that are invisible to your human senses, but entirely legible to the intelligence that moves through all things. The third shift is anchoring the higher self. Many people reach an expanded state and then lose it when they return to daily demands. They experience clarity in solitude, but abandon it in the presence of pressure. They receive a message in the quiet hours, then allow one dismissive voice to invalidate it by morning. This is not failure. It is a sign that the insight has not yet been anchored in the nervous system. The nervous system is the bridge between the spiritual and the physical. It is the infrastructure through which higher awareness must travel in order to become lived experience rather than beautiful memory. If the nervous system has been conditioned to associate expansion with danger, it will contract every time expansion begins to root itself. The anchoring work is therefore not simply a spiritual practice. It is a physiological one. It is the patient, consistent work of teaching the body that clarity is safe, that visibility is survivable, that moving forward does not mean the end of belonging. Anchoring means allowing your expanded awareness to become practical. It means taking one clear thought and giving it a physical structure. If you know you need rest, create the boundary that protects it. If you know your work must be shared, choose the time and place to release it. If you know a connection continually drains your life force, stop calling the depletion a lesson and begin honoring the information. Multidimensional awareness is not measured by how many realms you can imagine. It is measured by how faithfully you bring truth into the realm where your feet are standing. A vision that never touches Earth is not a mission. It is a dream, and while dreams are sacred and necessary, they become their full power only when they are given form, given breath, given the dignity of a single concrete step taken in their direction. The fourth shift is the reclamation of your field. You have been taught, directly and indirectly, to make your energy available to every demand. But availability is not the same as love, and constant access is not the same as service. When your field is open without discernment, every fear, expectation, and unresolved emotion around you can begin to sound like your own. You may have spent years believing that the weight you carry belongs to you, only to discover that a significant portion of it was borrowed from environments and relationships that did not know how to hold their own charge. Empathic beings are particularly vulnerable to this form of energetic confusion, not because they are weak, but because their permeability is part of their design. The recalibration is not about becoming closed. It is about becoming conscious of what you allow in and what you are prepared to release. Before you enter a conversation, ask what belongs to you and what does not. Before you accept an obligation, notice whether your body expands or contracts. Before you explain your path to someone committed to misunderstanding it, ask whether explanation will create connection or simply invite further interference. Your energy is a living environment. You are allowed to protect its clarity. The field you carry is not a limitless resource to be distributed without intention. It is a sacred ecosystem, with its own intelligence and its own requirements for sustainability. When you honor those requirements, you do not become stingy with your gifts. You become a renewable source of them. You stop giving from depletion and begin giving from overflow. And the transmission that emerges from overflow carries an entirely different quality than the transmission that emerges from obligation. This is where the force that has been opposing your movement begins to lose its influence. It may be a person, but it may also be a pattern, a memory, an old agreement, or an internalized voice that learned to survive by keeping you predictable. It cannot stop what is aligned, but it can delay what you refuse to enact. The interruption continues only while you keep giving it your attention, your fear, and your unmade decision. Every time you make the decision, the opposition loses a portion of its leverage. Every time you act from your center rather than your wound, the internal voice that has been posing as reason loses its authority. Not all at once, not in a single dramatic moment of triumph, but incrementally, steadily, with a consistency that eventually becomes undeniable even to the part of you that once believed the resistance would last forever. The fifth shift is learning to recognize timeline movement. Alignment rarely unfolds in a straight line. There may be a period when everything appears quiet, followed by a rapid sequence of openings. There may be an ending that looks like loss until you realize it removed the barrier between you and the next phase. There may be delays that were not denials, but recalibrations protecting you from entering an opportunity with an unprepared identity. The timing of your unfolding is not arbitrary. There is intelligence in the sequencing that your linear mind cannot always decode from within the experience. The relationship that ended at the worst possible moment may have been the precise incision that freed your energy for what was waiting. The opportunity that evaporated may have redirected you toward something your current identity was not yet equipped to sustain. Trust does not mean passivity. It means holding a larger pattern in mind while continuing to participate fully in the detail of the present moment. Do not use temporary silence as evidence that nothing is happening. Seeds do not become inactive because they are beneath the surface. Your inner architecture may be changing in ways that are not yet visible to the people around you. Let the invisible work complete itself, but do not use patience as an excuse to remain passive. Trust the timing and still take the step. There is a version of surrender that is genuine receptivity, and there is a version of surrender that is spiritual-sounding avoidance. The first opens you to receive what alignment is bringing toward you. The second uses the language of trust to delay the action that trust actually requires. You will know the difference not by analyzing it, but by feeling into the quality of the stillness. Genuine receptivity feels alive and attentive. Spiritual avoidance feels familiar and slightly relieved. The sixth shift is conscious emission. You do not need to convince everyone that your path is real. You do not need to persuade those who benefit from your doubt. The most powerful transmission is often the life you build after you stop asking to be understood by people who have chosen not to see you. There is an enormous amount of energy that becomes available the moment you stop pouring it into the project of being validated by those who have a vested interest in your smallness. That energy, redirected toward your actual work, your genuine relationships, your creative output, your expanding contribution, becomes a force that requires no argument and no defense. The life itself becomes the transmission. The choices themselves become the evidence. And the people who are meant to receive what you carry will recognize it without needing you to announce it. When you act from a clear center, your presence becomes coherent. Your words carry less strain. Your choices stop contradicting your knowing. Opportunities that match your frequency can recognize you more easily because you are no longer sending mixed signals. This is what it means to become a carrier wave, not to perform awakening, but to embody enough consistency that your life begins communicating before you speak. A carrier wave does not announce itself. It simply moves through the medium with such precision and regularity that everything capable of receiving it does so automatically. When your life becomes the carrier wave, you stop needing to be loud. You stop needing to be everywhere. You become deeply, specifically, powerfully present wherever you are, and that presence does more work than any amount of scattered urgency ever could. Take a breath now and feel the difference between urgency and instruction. Urgency scatters you. Instruction gathers you. Instruction gathers you. Urgency says you must prove everything immediately. Instruction says begin with what is directly in front of you. You do not need to solve the entire mission tonight. You need to stop betraying the next honest step. Feel the difference in your body between those two orientations. Urgency constricts the chest, accelerates the breath, creates a noise in the mind that makes clarity impossible to locate. Instruction, by contrast, feels like a gentle centering, like a compass finding north after being spun. It does not demand that you know every coordinate of the journey. It simply points to the next true direction and invites you to begin. The final shift is permission to become unfamiliar to your former self. This is where the deepest resistance often appears. You may mourn the identity that received approval for being agreeable, quiet, endlessly strong, or perpetually available. You may feel guilty when your life begins to reflect your actual priorities. Let that guilt move through without treating it as guidance. A nervous system trained to survive through self-abandonment may experience self-respect as danger at first. This is not a flaw in your character. It is simply evidence that the training was deep and began early. Give that nervous system the same patience you would give a child who has been taught to make themselves invisible. You are not requiring it to transform overnight. You are asking it to consider, one moment at a time, that expansion is survivable, that being seen in your true frequency does not always end in the rejection you were taught to fear, that the relationships and opportunities that meet you in your authenticity are more nourishing than anything that required your diminishment as the price of admission. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming clear. You are not losing your compassion. You are removing the distortion that made compassion synonymous with depletion. You are not separating from those you love. You are allowing every relationship to meet the more honest version of you. And some relationships will deepen beautifully in response to your clarity because they were always waiting for the real you to arrive. And some relationships will reveal that they were constructed around your willingness to be less. Both outcomes are information. Both are part of the reorganization. Both belong to the process of becoming someone whose life is an accurate reflection of their actual frequency. And here is the deeper revelation. The event you have been waiting for may not arrive to rescue you from the threshold. The threshold is asking you to arrive as the person who can receive what is coming. The high intelligences you sense around your path are not replacing your will. They are amplifying the consequences of your willingness. They can illuminate the coordinates, but you must place your feet upon the ground and walk. The support surrounding you is real. The intelligence that has been moving through your dreams, through the synchronicities, through the persistent inner knowing that refuses to be silenced despite every reasonable argument against it. That intelligence is genuinely present, but it operates through the laws of co-creation. It can show you the door. It can make the door visible, remarkable, undeniable, but the act of walking through it belongs to you. Not because you have been abandoned to do this alone, but because your passage through it is itself the point. Your willingness is itself the transmission. What has been seen ahead of you cannot be stopped by the doubts of another person, but it can be postponed by your continued refusal to participate in its creation. Your future is not a fixed spectacle waiting to happen without you. It is a living field responding to the quality of your choices. Every time you speak the truth instead of performing safety, the path strengthens. Every time you honor your energy instead of bargaining it away, the signal becomes cleaner. Every time you act while fear is present, you teach your system that fear is not the commander. Fear is a passenger. It may be loud. It may be insistent. It may occasionally throw itself across the steering wheel in a moment of particular alarm. But it is not the driver. You are the driver. And the more consistently you demonstrate that fact through your choices, the less frequently fear attempts the takeover. You were never asked to become fearless. You were asked to become trustworthy to yourself. This distinction is everything. Fearlessness is a myth that keeps people waiting for a state that never permanently arrives. Trustworthiness is a practice available right now, in this breath, in this moment, in the next choice that arrives before you have had time to prepare a performance. To be trustworthy to yourself means that when you know something, you honor it. When you receive a clear instruction from your inner intelligence, you do not immediately hand it over to your most fearful committee member for approval. You act on it. You take the step. You make the call. You write the first line. You close the door that has been draining you. You open the one that has been patiently waiting. This is the point where remembrance becomes real. Not when you feel cosmic and inspired, but when you are tired and still choose integrity. Not when everyone agrees with your direction, but when you can continue without their agreement. Not when the path is guaranteed, but when the inner signal is clear enough to deserve your participation. Remembrance is not a single dramatic moment of galactic recall. It is the accumulation of every small choice made in alignment with the deepest thing you know. It is every morning you chose to honor your work before you checked whether anyone had approved of yesterday's effort. It is every conversation in which you said the true thing instead of the comfortable one. It is every night you went to sleep in a life that was becoming, slowly and unmistakably, an accurate expression of the soul that chose this particular human experience. Your star lineage is not a costume, a title, or an escape from responsibility. It is a way of perceiving, a capacity for synthesis, a commitment to bring more consciousness into places that have forgotten their own potential. The proof will not be found in convincing the world that you came from somewhere beyond it. The proof will be found in how you transform the world immediately around you through the quality of your presence. The family member whose patterns shift because you stopped participating in them. The colleague who remembers their own courage because they watched you act on yours. The stranger who receives a moment of genuine recognition that alters the quality of their entire day. These are the transmissions. These are the quiet, irreversible acts of service that a being who has remembered their origin performs without announcement and without expectation of reward. Tonight, place one hand over your chest and one over your lower abdomen. Let your breath slow until you can feel yourself occupying the body you once tried to leave behind. Then say, quietly or aloud, I allow my highest knowing to become a grounded action. I release the patterns that delay my alignment. I remember through what I choose, and I move forward with clarity. Do not force an image. Do not demand a sign. Let the next instruction emerge as a calm and unmistakable direction. The body that houses you is not a limitation. It is a precision instrument through which multidimensional intelligence can operate in this specific dimension. Honor it. Be present within it. Let it be the temple through which your remembrance moves from concept into lived reality. You are not waiting for permission from the universe. You are learning to recognize the permission already moving through you. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of what's forming here. Drop one intention in the comments, something real. Then respond to someone else's with encouragement or energy. This isn't content, it's collective alignment. Energy multiplies when intention connects. If something in this message resonated, don't keep it to yourself. Someone in your orbit is waiting for this exact activation. Share it. And if you felt a soul nudge, subscribe. Stay in the flow. You're not just watching, you're expanding. This is your space, and we're just getting started.